Around the NFL podcast doesn't care about your favorite team.
Not true. That's the whole thing. That's what we do here. We're actually the opposite of what Money said, so Money, don't be a liar. From the Chris Wessling Podcast Studio. Well, Money didn't write that. He just read what was written. He goes under the bus.
He's just doing what they say.
It's Around the NFL. I'm Dan Hansis. Got some heroes here. You already heard Mark Sessler, Greg Rosenthal as well. Gentlemen, it is Tuesday. It is 12:46 p.m. on the West Coast. It is December 14th, and COVID's still coming for us. I'm getting a little nervous about this season right now. Big outbreak with the Browns, outbreak with the Rams. Starting to percolate news about that. And Mark, I got to give it up to you, the new ATN insider.
Okay.
You're welcome to the family, I should say.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
You did some really hard-hitting journal work, and you want to share some of that right now?
I will. Well, we were chatting, the four of us, along with Ricky, on yesterday just about the COVID thing, and I just asked out loud, or I guess over text, is that out loud? How many cases have there been in terms of missed games this year versus where we were a year ago?
Okay.
And would you like to know the answer to that?
Well, I follow you on Twitter, but yes.
No.
So I know.
Not into it.
It was
I don't care. Really.
Okay, so let's move on.
Oh, no, I do. I do.
Oh, well, you said this is a really good tweet in our sleep. You were lying to me when you said that. Anyways, I will get to the numbers.
Liked it was kind of like a quasi-off day, and you were like digging through with NFL media research on this COVID story.
I was curious.
Just a little proud of you.
It was a good question.
I was proud of you,
I liked it.
All right, well, how about this? So 262 games have been missed through Week 14, where there's a lot of nonsense to come. At this time last year, 309. So,
similar.
A slower
but
pace, but
up.
a concerning pace.
Well,
right?
we're catching up. Monday, there was 37 players tested positive. That was before Odell Beckham and a ton of other players on Tuesday. And that was the most in any single day. And if you look at the NBA, it sort of happened to them a week earlier. Like, they've had games pushed back, canceled. Entire teams like the Bulls have been wiped out, and so it feels like it's coming.
Yeah, it's something, unfortunately, that is a part of this season as it was part of last season, and we just hope, because obviously competitive balance is shifted, and we're going to get to, like, Monday Night Football, obviously, where the best cornerback in football, Jalen Ramsey, taken out of action. It just feels inevitable that this is going to become maybe an every game situation where someone is going to be missing. And you don't want it to be that way, but that's just the world we live in right now. Today's show will be a good one because in addition to a really fun Monday night game, we had a great Thursday night football matchup coming up. Chiefs and Chargers. And we're going to have the great Connie Fox dropping by here to preview that tilt. It is almost Christmas. We have the elf on the shelf is going off in the Hansis house, causing a lot of mischief. There's a lot of belief in the house. And then Jack also lost his front tooth. So the tooth fairy rolled in, and it's just like,
Did you find it?
Easy
it's not in
with
the hot
with
tub?
the fairies. Yes, we lost a Jack tooth in a hot tub last summer. This one we did recover. The fairy, the tooth fairy took care of that business. Just too many.
She's riding in at a weird time of year.
Too many mystical figures.
Right.
And you got Santa, you got the big man coming. It's like, how about ask for permission before you come in the house. Ancient nymphs.
Exactly. We one of the worst parenting gaffes that our household fell victim to was that our child Colton lost his tooth. This was during Corona. There's a lot of other stuff going on. Put the tooth under his pillow 3 nights in a row, expecting the tooth fairy to come in and drop some greenbacks down, under the pillow. We forgot 3 nights in a row to pay up.
That's bad.
And so where does that leave a child?
A lot of trust issues for starters.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
They still believe, though. They still believe in the tooth fairy.
I think it shook faith that the tooth fairy acted, in a professional manner.
It should be stated that a lot of people are listening to this podcast in cars right now. We don't know who else is in the cars. So yes, the tooth fairy does exist. And,
absolutely,
in a big spot.
In this case, yes, you're right.
Anyway. We're going to get to all that, but just one thing, just buttoning up. Sunday night, Mark had a really unfortunate gaffe that kind of rocked the show. He had the false information about the Raiders' greatest blowout loss, and it was ugly, to say the least, Greg. Mark apologized, but
I thought in a way that made me look good.
Right, so that's why.
That's the important part of every apology, is to make yourself look good.
Okay, well,
that's the core tenet.
It's one piece of the pie.
And then you said you were going to submit yourself to HR. Erica had sent me this message that apparently landed in your inbox, and she did not. She knows that you don't want it to be played, but I feel like we have a contract with our listeners that this is a show that's built on openness and honesty.
Mark, I didn't want to disobey your trust, but I just felt like.
But that's exactly what you did.
Yeah, but well, first of all, I'm sorry, but I feel like the integrity to the listeners, they needed to hear this.
All right, just hand out the trophies right now for best acting. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Hey, Mark. It's Tabby from HR. For starters, I don't find it entirely credible that you would file a complaint against yourself. Like, let me get this straight. You said something factually incorrect about the Raiders losing to the Chiefs? Feels more like something for you to discuss with someone from editorial, don't you think? It's not an HR violation on its own. More just like another example of you thinking you can just do whatever and say whatever you please. That's basically you, isn't it? Nothing applies to you or your behavior. Whatever you say, whatever you promise comes with zero consequences. As you roam around town following one person's rules, your dumb rules. For example, when I suggested that we get coffee sometime back in October, and you never followed up or responded, well, my response to that is go yourself. Whoa. You just ignore me after we had that nice talk in the parking garage. Class act. Then you have the audacity to send this stupid podcast bit to me, like I'm going to play along with your latest attention-seeking piece of bullshit. What value do you add to our company? I have an answer to that. None, big guy. Loser. I'm trying to drive on the godforsaken 405 right now, dumb. Why am I dealing with you and your idiot schemes? I hate you. Class act.
Wow.
All right.
Yikes.
Well, it's good to finally.
We don't need to release that whole thing. By
it's
the
good
way.
to match a voice to Gravedigger's date to the holiday party.
As Wes would have said back in the day, a lot of performative expletives there. But I guess she just, Tabby was angry.
I'm not saying a thing because that's the HR person, and then you see how you will.
Well, it seems like the operation could use a bit of a reset. I'll put it at that. We'll leave it there.
Let's, as you would say, put a pin in that. And I'm not saying another word about it.
It's troubling. Let's close the door now on Week 14 with some Monday Night Football talk. Wow, that was disturbing.
Under center, Stafford, play fix, boots out to his left.
I mean, she's not going to be happy.
He's got Van Jefferson, and Van brings it in at the goal line. Middle of the field, touchdown L.A. What a rocket shot from Matthew Stafford. Saw it coming all the way.
Oh, J.B. Long with the call. And the L.A. Rams get it done. A huge win on Monday Night Football over the Arizona Cardinals. Final score, Greg?
30-23.
30-23 from State Farm Stadium, a place where the Cardinals can't win a ball game. 3 straight losses there. They're undefeated on the road. So the Cardinals are part of this story. But isn't the biggest story here, Greg Rosenthal? Well, Mark lost his lock. That's a big story.
I'm taking L's all over the place today.
That is the biggest story.
Isn't the biggest story here the Rams showing life, showing, hey, we can be a Super Bowl contender, even though some people said they were too soft to hang in a big spot. Some people, I wasn't me, I don't know who it was in this room, they do, in a big spot, step up, play strong, get a big win.
This season is so long, and there's 4 games to go after this, that this is the time of year that teams like the Rams, who have shown signs, I mean, they did blow out the Bucs in Week 3, need to show up and be accounted for. And if you're the Cardinals, it's like a division loss. You tied the series to a very good team, balling out, I think, in their best game of the season, and I wouldn't be devastated. But if you're the Rams, it's so important because that's the best game Matthew Stafford played all season. It's certainly the most integrated Odell Beckham has been as part of the offense all season. The running game complemented Matthew Stafford with Sony Michel. That was really positive. And more than anything, the defensive energy was there from the first snap of the game when Aaron Donald threw that guard aside into Kyler Murray to the very end. Every play that Murray made in this game had to be spectacular because the guards, the interior line of Arizona was just decimated and dominated. And even without Jalen Ramsey, to me that defense just made life so difficult on Arizona. They gave Stafford the chance, and they gave this offense a chance to go win it and be special on their own.
It killed a flock of narratives that were chasing down the Rams, previous to their bye week and really ever since, because no one looked at that Jaguars win as meaningful on any level. I think it says a lot that it's almost like this is a team, one of the few teams that will be helped even by that extra week of the season, because Stafford, OBJ, the rest of them, they were not where they were last night in weeks past. I mean, it tells you that, when you have a new quarterback in a new system, it is going to take time. It took time last year for Tom Brady. I mean, their bye week changed everything for them. And we saw Brady have a couple bad games last year that he has not duplicated this way this time around. And I think that Stafford, the questions about him last night were answered. They won a big game in prime time against what I thought was the best team in football. And the Cardinals, it shows you the razor's edge they're on, because they're not a mistake-prone team. They've overcome their mistakes really well. But Kyler Murray, who I thought actually played one of the best games of the season, I honestly thought he was awesome. I know he had the 2 bad interceptions. One was a tipped ball. But Cliff Kingsbury said he was super proud of him after the game, the way that some of the stuff that he pulled off. The Cardinals cannot make those mistakes, though. I mean, he made mistakes, and I think that there are some killer penalties down the stretch by their own line. And then the meltdown at the end, the final minute meltdown.
See, I totally disagree. I'm not saying that Kyler Murray, is a GOAT or anything, or wearing the GOAT horns, I should say. But I don't think he played a good game here. I know he used his athleticism to make some incredible plays because he's a great athlete. But he doesn't throw a touchdown pass. He has the 2 interceptions. There could have been more than that, and it was very ugly the way the end of that game played out. I thought that's money time for a true superstar quarterback, and I thought he was a little bit out of sorts. And I think it was the first punch in the mouth game for the Cardinals, or at least at this juncture of the season. And I wasn't really overly impressed. And I thought when I think about the big picture look at this game, it was what happened when the Rams stars needed to step up and play big, and they did. Matthew Stafford playing his best game of the year. I agree with that. I thought he was excellent. The throws he was making down the field, short, everything was spot on, and he was in complete control of that game. Aaron Donald, I mean, I've talked about it on this podcast. Come on, Aaron Donald, take over a game. Show us why you're one of the best players to ever play our game.
He answered your
and he
your
absolutely
challenge.
did.
Yeah.
He was
14 pressures.
Yep.
14 pressures. He had 3 sacks. He had the tip that led to that interception. Numerous holding calls because you just can't stop the man, including the key one late after the onside kick recovery. Cooper Kupp, he might have 2,000 receiving yards. He steps up. And Odell Beckham, a guy that's been, obviously, I don't love the way things ended in Cleveland, and I thought it was laughable that they would even carry the water for him on that show and report what he said, which was, I got fired on my day off in Cleveland. Dude, you quit on your team, and they had to dump you because you didn't want to play with them anymore. But that's all in the past. He played really well in this game as well, and we just didn't see the same thing with the Cardinals, Greg.
Well,
I didn't see big performances from them.
Well, he's a number 2. Beckham's a number 2 receiver now, which is kind of huge. Kupp is the guy, and the way the game started with Stafford kind of hitting him with jabs over and over and being patient to Kupp short, and then he ends up kind of going with the haymakers after that. It was, really mature, really awesome, and, the deep throw to Jefferson, the over to Kupp were just outrageous throws that, you picked on Robert Alford. I've been waiting for this Cardinals secondary to show some holes. They've been so feisty all year. And Alford, to me, was the weak link last night. He got picked on. But for the most part, those took great throws. And that's why I'm kind of with Mark that Murray played pretty well in that game, aside from that one Leonard Floyd tipped interception, which he just misjudged it, and Floyd made a fantastic play. I looked at the PFF grades for this game, and I wasn't surprised Murray had an 80 which is very high, which is quite high. It's like not amazing, but it's quite high. But he had 5 big-time throws in this game and 4 turnover-worthy plays, which is like that's like putting crooked numbers up in baseball. Like he was all spectacular and a lot of bad too, especially at the end of the game.
And what I mean, like with the Murray stuff, I mean, I think that he put a lot of great stuff on display. A lot the mistake you can't have the mistakes, but if this is the low point for the Cardinals, I don't come out of here shook by what happened. I think that they have not been blown out this season. They barely lost to the Packers. My thing with Arizona, and I feel the same way about the Rams, these are teams that I think need to get home field advantage. And it's not because, you're right, the Cardinals have lost at home. This was a decisive setback. It put them back to the 3rd seed in the NFC. They're not in control of all that right now. And had they beaten the Rams, we'd be talking about them in a completely different way. But this was not if this was the floor for Arizona, this is an excellent football team.
It took an excellent effort from the Rams. It's not like they wanted it more, but they played physical on defense. I think they set a tone.
Did you see the look on McVay's face through the whole game? I think that they came into this thing wanting it as mad as
absolutely.
As
they needed it, and sometimes that's why. I mean, if the Cardinals end up going 14-3, it's like this is one of those games that you lose. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not going to be too hard on them when you lose the turnover battle 2-0. The 2 plays to me that changed the game more than anything. Obviously, there was the first play. I mean, the first interception, which they would have gone up 10-0, and that was the part of the game where Murray was playing out of his mind because every catch James Conner's making, every throw Murray's making are so contested, and they're figuring it out. And then he gets intercepted on the goal line. It got tipped up a couple times. Like, his height was a bit of an issue with some of those tips. But DeAndre Hopkins dropped a 4th down conversion inside the 5, and James Conner has a wide-open hole on a 4th and 1 at the 40-yard line in the 4th quarter. Those are 2 4th down conversions that the Cardinals' 2 best players, or 2 of their best players on offense, kind of just blew it. The game's a little different if they pick up those. You know what I mean? It just felt like a close game between 2 good teams.
He had A.J. Green deep. I think it was on the first drive where he missed him. He just flat out missed him, and that triggered a field goal. I mean, that's points left on the board. So they just can't make those mistakes. That's not been who they've been, game to game.
I thought James Conner was incredible in that game overall, though, and I think A.J. Green's giving you more than you expected this season. The DeAndre Hopkins thing is something to keep an eye on. Now, he's getting an MRI as we record this on his leg, and he came out of this game limping. But, even if you watch that game, that should have been a money game for him with Jalen Ramsey out of the lineup, and he just didn't seem to have a lot of burst. And I just wonder if his leg ever truly got better or if this is a situation where he's had a setback. It's something to keep an eye on because he is so important to what the Cardinals do in terms of their red zone and playmakers when you need somebody to step up. So that is something
12 targets
to watch.
for 54 yards. He has not topped 90 yards in a game this season. And he's barely practiced for about 3 years now. And he got away with it. Didn't seem to really affect him.
Are you saying good trade by the Texans?
No.
I'm with you.
He did
We've gotten to that point.
He did go 1,400 yards last year at 115 catches. So he was fine. But he hasn't practiced. He's been on the Julio schedule where he's like always banged up and never practices.
It's
about 3 years. And this year it felt like it's caught up to him.
Can I ask you a question, Greg? Because this is something you've said numerous times, and I haven't really come at you on it because I kind of saw
Come at me.
Do you like Teddy Bridgewater?
What you were talking about, but at the same time, I thought maybe you weren't giving the guy enough credit. I think Matt Stafford is better than – it's not like you've said numerous times. Matt Stafford is who he is. He's not going to magically change because he went from one place to another. I thought this was an example, and we saw it in the beginning of the season as well, put him in a fresh setting with better players and great coaching – and he could be the guy that everyone thought he was going to be when he was the #1 overall pick. When he's at top flight this season, he's a top 3 quarterback. I sincerely believe he's that good when he's locked in as he was yesterday.
No doubt. But to me, that is the Matthew Stafford experience, that he has 3 or 4 games a year where he plays like a top 3 or 4 guy. You would think with Sean McVay and the Rams that you'll get more consistency down the stretch. He was sensational last night
he was awesome.
In every respect. Like, physically, mentally, ball location, all of it. But I have seen that out of Stafford with the Lions. Like, so many Lions fans were tweeting out how much they missed him because they missed those Stafford games. But you get like 3 or 4 of them a year, and you get some inconsistencies.
And you have to also include the games where they came out saying the Rams were soft, when I think those losses had more to do with Stafford errors.
The good thing is, like, with all these teams, wow them in the end, and you got to hit. That's what old Robert McKee says, played by Brian Cox on in Adaptation. It's all about the end of this season.
See, that's how you know that Greg really is with it pop culture-wise.
That's the last
Everybody
movie I
talks
watched.
Succession. Forget about Succession. He's talking Cox in Adaptation.
Here's Adaptation. Here's the problem. Just like some housekeeping, though, the Rams will lose the tiebreak even if they tie the Cardinals in this division if the Cardinals win their Week 18 matchup against the Seahawks. So basically, the Cardinals win Week 18 against the Seahawks. They lock up that division record tiebreak over the Rams. That ultimately kind of puts them up 1.5 or 2 games with 4 to play. So the Rams still have have an uphill battle here, and will have to get some help to get out of that 5 spot. It really feels like they're stuck there unless the Cardinals slip up, and the Cardinals have some tough games.
I know what happens with these games. Now everyone's down on the Arizona, and we're all flying high on the Rams. I think they're both excellent teams, but I'm not replacing the Cardinals with the Rams at this point. Not yet. The Rams have been inconsistent. I think they're rounding into something special.
I don't sense anybody in this room is really burying the Cardinals.
Right. No, you've been burying the Rams the whole time.
I've not been burying the Rams the whole time. The Rams have been up and down. We're now forgetting how they got thumped viciously games
but that's
in
how
a row.
this league works.
Oh, yeah. I'm saying it's part of the story, but part of the whole thing is they're rounding into something really good. But the Cardinals are not a problem to me.
They're not, and I don't think anybody thinks they are. I think what the Rams gave us last night was, hey, we could be as good as any of these teams.
Peak Rams.
Yes,
right.
So
Peak Rams.
That was a nice reminder because it's been a while.
They got to show it to themselves. I think there's 5 teams in the NFC that could go to the Super Bowl. To me, it'd be a little surprising if San Francisco got there or whoever wins the 7th seed. And I think the Rams needed to have that be a little more than just something you say, and like that intellectually it could happen. Like, oh, yeah, this is a team that could get on a roll. Now they know it. We know it. We all know it.
All right,
totally agree.
Mark, let's take inventory. Obviously, the lock competition means a lot to you. What was destroyed in your house during the game?
Means a lot to you, too. You're looking for your first title here, Dan.
I have a title. I got it.
I have a title, too.
Yeah. But I'm asking you, what was destroyed in your house while you watched the game?
My behavior was serene. It was freezing, and I was in my garage underneath. There were no blankets, so I just unfurled a sleeping bag and just put it over my body while I watched that game.
Pretty sad, actually.
Why?
I'm going to get you. You know what? We're going to be giving out some Christmas gifts. I got one coming for you now that I heard that. Let's take a break.
I liked it.
And then hand out some gifts. All right, here we go. Welcome back to the old, podcast, and it is Christmas time. Hanukkah is in the rear view, but that doesn't mean you can't send a gift over to Greg and his people. These are all options.
We celebrate Christmas, to be fair.
You're a Christmas house as well. I have no problem with that.
Not as well. No Hanukkah.
No Hanukkah.
No Hanukkah.
Christmas, you identify as Jewish.
I don't. It's not religious. I mean,
talk about contrarian.
Take us through it.
I identify as not religious. I think that it's Jewish. You feel some cultural connection because my dad was born in Nazi Germany. That was part of it. So that was a big part of his identity, his family's identity. But never been to a temple, so it's different.
You did not have a bar mitzvah.
No.
I would have loved to be at the Greg Rosenthal bar mitzvah.
Well, he sounds so plugged in. It would be an incredible show.
But Greg was born age 32, so he could not have been 13 at a bar mitzvah. No. There it is. No. See, connect the dots with the red string.
Never been to a bar mitzvah.
We're going to hand out gifts to each other right now because it is the holidays. Mark, the first one, I'm just going to here's a box for you.
Okay.
All right, I'll open it up.
What a nice box. Here I am opening it. Do we have to do that for everyone? I mean,
yes.
I've opened the box.
All right.
Let's see what's in it.
Inside, there you go, an electric blanket for your sad garage football games.
I don't feel sad. It's like a total enjoy. This is a nice addition to what was already.
That's your happy place, all by yourself in the garage.
This had 4.5 out of 5 stars on Amazon. Really good reviews. You might need an extension cord depending where you're setting up the electric blanket, and maybe the cords. You might not have too many outlets in the garage.
Right above the couch, there's an outlet. Actually, it's a perfect gift based on
no source of water in the area.
There's an excellent pure water filter in there that I have delivered. The water's delivered monthly.
We'll get all snuggly in that one and watch Browns Raiders this weekend.
Ugh.
How about that? All right, now one gift is already down. Do you want to hand out a gift here, Mark?
Yeah, I will give a gift to Greg. I'm very proud of Greg for starting up his tennis podcast this year.
Wait, let him open the gift.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the bit?
Okay, here we go.
Wow.
See what's in there?
Oh, this is great.
Yeah, well, I'm giving Greg a weekend with Boris. That would be ex-tennis star Boris Becker.
Ooh.
All right, who was my favorite tennis player growing up because of his electric athletic.
German, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he's still on the scene. I follow him on Instagram.
He also escaped Nazi Germany. That's true as well.
I think he was on the other side, just by the looks of him.
Yeah, no, the narrative is different there. Anyways, Greg, this is what you get in a weekend with Boris. He is going to give you a series of next-level tennis lessons.
Okay.
You can also just hit it around with him. He'll tape 3 quarts of Thunder Pods with you as your guest. He will smoke some high-octane tree in the evenings with you.
Oh, yeah. Just the way you said tree there, that was a president in itself.
And also, he will wax your entire body along with a body tactician named Oliver. These are all included.
That would be good for the
in
Kirk
a weekend.
Cousins cube, too.
Absolutely. So it fits right. That's the football angle, the Kirk Cousins cube that you're in.
That would be fun. Maybe we could have him do like an Australian Open preview. That's generally my favorite tournament, but it does come during the NFL playoffs. It might be tough to bring back Courts of Thunder then. We'll see. But
or to get away for a weekend.
Boris has had a nice post-tennis career as like a controversial commentator who like occasionally goes a little too far. With some old school views, but still well loved. You know what I mean? Like, this is perfect.
You guys will do great.
He's like the Jimmy the Greek of the tennis community.
Greg, do you want to hand out a gift?
I will. Mine's more just, generic here. Not generic,
who's it for?
But more football. It's for the Wessling brothers and Brad Spicer.
The Spice Rack.
The Spice Rack.
Who's opening that gift?
All of them. It's just sent to Cincinnati, and it's just opened up. And inside is actually a heart for Zach Taylor. Like that, like he actually grows a pair here, gets a little more aggressive down the stretch, and recognizes the quarterback that he has, and stops like calling games. What is it? The Cowardly Lion gets the heart. Stops calling games as if Joe Burrow is this like rookie ham and egger, and starts playing to win here, because the city of Cincinnati and their Bengals fans deserve this.
Based on, I think it was Nick's texting, or was
that was
Spice Rack?
Rack, yeah.
I can imagine Spice Rack sending the still beating heart of a lion to Zach Taylor or the Bengals complex.
That would be troubling.
Yeah, I could imagine.
That
maybe
would get
not
him on some radars.
Because you could say that it's like, oh, they've already overachieved. They're over their over-under total for the year. We're here in Week 14. No. If this thing goes sideways, and there is like a Bengals-y feeling to it, in my mind, it'll be horrible. And I think he's just got to see the guy that he has in Joe Burrow and start coaching that way.
I want to say, I just want to make this clear, because somebody had tweeted at me, and I even caught myself on Sunday, and I was saying, oh, Bengals fans shouldn't get upset. They have a fun team now. I get it. It doesn't mean that like you can't be frustrated, because they have graduated from league doormat to fun team with potential, but the next step where they become a consistent winner, that's what the Browns, for instance, are trying to do right now. That continues to elude them, and I understand exactly the moment, although maybe there were many moments in that game, but watching the game on Game Pass, in overtime they roar down the field. Bengals roar, nailed it. I think it's 1st and 10 at the 26 of San Francisco, and they run it twice.
Run, pass.
And then take a sack and then settle for the field goal. They make the field goal, but it's like if you're a decimated 49ers secondary and you're moving the ball, just attack, go win the damn game. And I get that. And Zach hopefully learns from that.
You think he would? I mean, but I think you're saying also Bengals fans, relative to what you're going through as a Jets fan, should be feeling on the up and up. And you know what?
Because I was where they were 2 years ago.
That's fine, but I would say, because it sounds a little bit like
this game is also on my radar. This Bengals-Broncos game coming up. It's just that it would feel.
I see that.
It would feel troubling if you lose to the like that. Then it starts to get ugly.
I don't even remember at this point.
I believe you were making a comment about my fandom and the.
Oh well,
Bengals
I
fandom.
think that if your team moves into that we don't totally rot category, we have some hope. You change as a fan pretty quick. You want more and more. You're not sitting there and satisfiedville.
I get that. I will hand out Greg, you deserve another gift. Okay. You've been a very good boy.
Absolutely, he does. Yeah.
He's a man that celebrates Christmas, so I will open it up. Oh, you're doing a good job with it. Look at those hands at work. Tearing those
big hands,
that gift open.
Really can hold that ball in the rain.
I have gifted to you, as you can see there, uncomplicated love for the Patriots. I've been tracking this with you. I think, Mark, we haven't had a private conversation, but I know you have sensed it as well.
That's an on-point gift.
That Greg, for some reason, but there is a reason. I think I know what it is. Because Greg likes to play the game like, you don't know what's going on in my head ever. I do. I do know what's going on in that brain.
That's the game
that
I'm
big
playing.
old Rosenthal brain.
That's the game I'm playing.
And
you don't know what's in my head game.
And what's going on with Greg is, he's a serious football analyst. And he looks around the landscape and he sees, like, how many of these people that I respect in the game, like, have a favorite team? It's like, no, I think it's time for me to move away from that. And I think that's what he was attempting to do once Brady left town. And
would have
once
been clean.
The dynasty ended. What else could I ever ask for? 6 rings, all these endless memories, both as a professional and as just a straight fan. And it was a clean break. So now I could be the analyst that doesn't have a fandom. I root for all teams. I root for stories. That old gag. But then what happened? Bill made some great draft picks, some deft signings. And here we are again with the Patriots team that is lovable to the people of New England, that is a bit of an underdog outfit with a young quarterback that's got a lot of moxie and potential. And you've been negging them this season. You keep on saying, oh, well, this is good. They're good, but maybe not that good every week. Every time they get a big win, a little negging, a little negging, a little negging. Maybe it's time to make your love uncomplicated again. Get away from the what do I need to do professionally to be the analyst that people will respect the most, and just say, I'll always be a Patriots fan.
Aren't I a huge...
Ricky, am I right?
No. I mean...
Of course you're right.
You're dead
I want
on.
this to be
You got
right.
a
First of all,
Bullseye.
I enjoy this more when I do love like the teams and teams and players. And my love for a lot of these teams, it goes away, but it's not complicated. I kind of wish I had it. I mean, it's sort of the other way around. Like Emeka's talked to me about it. Like, you're not really that into the Patriots. I kind of wish I had. I wish I liked them as much as Mark likes them this year. I don't know. It's not there, like, totally.
Well, it's an honest response, but Dan is giving you a gift that will allow you to feel that again. That's what the special nature of that gift is.
You'll never know what's in my head.
I'm not against it, but I mean, you're on point that I'm not like that into the Patriots, but that's more of like a shameful thing than something I'm like looking for.
So I'm not onto anything with you having a chance at a clean break and changing the way you frame your football viewing experience at this stage in your life?
Don't you think I like have a lot of teams that I'm like overly emotional about, and I would put I would put them in that mix, but it's not the same. I'm not like it's more embarrassing than anything that I'm not that into the Patriots.
All right. Before we go to Mark, I just want to quickly, Erica, I want to give you a gift. Everything okay back there?
Is this going to be a car with a bow on it? Those insanely dumb commercials?
Erica was just waiting to be teed up into the segment. She's like, I will slam the out of this Christmas music.
Don't you feel festive?
All right, go ahead. Here's your gift.
Okay.
Open it up.
Well, here we go. Here I go.
It's very sloppy back there right now. There you go. This is just a practical gift. This is
paper cut.
that's just flea medication for Thor.
Oh.
That's important.
That's what you got me?
Yeah. That's important to have.
Nice.
Well, guess what?
Go ahead, Mark.
I've got a gift for Ricky, too, that I think is a
important
little
gift.
bit more trenchant.
Okay.
Well, wait a second. That's important.
Yeah. That's expensive.
It's a very functional gift that you gave.
That would keep that dog in business.
Dan's giving legit good gifts, useful gifts.
Yeah, let's
life-saving.
Missing the blanket.
Like,
Not
that blanket's going to literally save Mark's life.
I sent a
functional.
text to our group last night to Mark and said, coming from a man in a grown man in a blanket in his garage.
Look, that's my house.
Yeah, but
I
you're
can
sending
proceed
us
as I
like
please.
thirst trap photos of like your legs and blankets last night watching this game.
Thirst trap.
Do you, do you
That's
know,
how you responded
we didn't
to
get
it.
that. You know the stories of the guy, the wife kicks him out of the house.
Yeah.
And he goes and like rents the U-Haul temporary storage unit and lives out of there until he gets busted.
Yeah.
Like, Mark just practicing for that.
Well, it's getting close. That's hitting close to home. Just to be honest. Can I give this gift to Ricky?
Go ahead.
It's a two-part gift. The first gift, and I think it might help you too, Greg, indirectly. And it's nothing we had. It's a gift you've been given before, but I think you like it. It's just a flat-out Super Bowl title for the plucky little Patriots team that could.
Wow.
That's the first
I think
gift.
it's a gift for everyone but me.
Yeah, that's the best gift I've ever gotten. And my 30th birthday weekend.
Mark's a huge Patriots fan now.
I'm digging him. Second, Give me the name of a male of a boy's name, please.
Danny.
Danny.
Well,
Danny.
no, not Dan, but like Danny Amendola. He winked at me.
All right, Danny. So I am giving Ricky a newborn infant.
Oh.
Okay, one that needs a new home. It's Danny.
Dan Jr.
It will be a boy. It's named Danny. The gift will be given and will arrive before Christmas so that it can enjoy Christmas with you. Not
What are we going to tell Emily?
It's, by the way, this is arriving on December 18th, so you have about 3 or 4 more days to go do anything at night to enjoy your life in terms of freedom on any level. The baby arrives, little Danny arrives on December 18th, and then you have to plug in and take care of it and do everything that you would do to raise a small boy.
By my math, it should be 7 months from now, but okay. December 18th.
No. This baby has already been born and needs to be cared for.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's
that
good.
would be a
That's
blessing.
nice.
I would love.
Perfect timing.
Enjoy it.
There's that NFL Network doubleheader on Saturday, and you guys can just sit and watch and enjoy
That's
it.
nice. That's nice.
You and Danny.
Awesome.
That was a nice gift. Do you have another one, Greg?
Sure. I'm going to give something to everyone here, and that is the gift of mental health in the form of the Browns winning the rest of their games. It's not for Mark. It's actually for us.
Oh, okay.
If the Browns continue to win, we're all happier.
They win the Super Bowl then.
Right. Dan was watching that game the other week, last Sunday, and we're on the edge of our seats, hoping the Browns don't blow this. I'll be watching Saturday, watching the Browns, whoever's left after this COVID party, and playing this fraudulent Raiders team. And I'm going to be nervous because I know Mark would hate nothing more than to lose to this sort of Raiders team, and I want a happy Mark at the office.
And I'm tentatively locking up your Brownies this weekend, but I got to see how the old COVID sitch shakes out.
I mean, it's
Get back to me on
it's
Thursday.
heading in the wrong direction.
Well, not heading in the great
I
direction.
think we kind of know, don't we? Landry, Hooper, it's a lot of players.
Yeah, but maybe they can, if they're vaccinated, they can get cleared by Saturday. Not looking too hot, though. It's funny because, Mark, you're very special to me, so I have this huge gift for you as well. It is Browns related, and I hope it kind of dovetails nicely here. I got you. Go ahead, open it up.
Let's see here, lifting the lid off the box. Oh,
Very nice.
holy shit.
It is a 4-year, $134 million extension for Baker Mayfield. It includes $110 million of guaranteed money. Takes you through the 2026 season, and it ties Baker to the franchise for 5 more years and $141 million. That is the Jared Goff contract, actually, from 2 years back. And I just went ahead and rubber stamped that sucker, so he's all yours. You got your quarterback.
That's my gift from you.
Well, the great thing about it is then you don't have to worry about all these questions. Is he the guy? Is he good or not? No, nope, the money proves it.
It's the gift that keeps giving, really.
He's the guy.
For years and years.
He's the guy, and he's great.
I'm going to hold off on the gift that I was going to give.
You going to return that gift?
I'm going to just press pause on the gift giving at this point.
Wait a second, because you were going to give me something nice, and now you're not going to do it?
I was, yeah.
But I just gave you a Baker Mayfield 4 for $134 with $110 guaranteed extension.
But I'm not ready to accept that gift yet.
You're taking that back to the return line.
I'm just not ready to do. It's just going to sit there in the spare room, and we'll see. We'll deal with it down the road. But thank you so much.
Okay, well, you see, sometimes with gifts you have the right intentions, and then it doesn't always get received in the way you imagined it.
That's true. That's how that works.
Do you have one on the fly? You want to give me like a lump of coal?
No, I actually was going to give you a very quick 2-part gift. One, confirmation over the next 4 weeks that you have a quarterback.
Oh.
And you will also extend Zach Wilson with the same contract that the Baker Mayfield received from the Browns on January 44th.
January 44th, good. So we'll never get to that day. Yeah, I kind of had this to talk about on the Thursday preview show, but yeah. People can tell me to shut up, but it's never too early to worry about a Jets quarterback. I'm not overly thrilled with the trajectory of his early career. And I know he's not in a great setup right now, but I'm a little nervous about it. I'll leave it at that.
What about this gift, minus the contract business, which was just
I don't know what he could do. I guess if he
What if he played lights out for a month? And you just saw it.
Oh, I would be over the moon, although that kind of happened with Darnold in 2018. In his last few games, but even then, I would take it because he's really struggling right now, and can't blame it really on coaching. You could blame it on personnel a little bit or maybe his health a little bit, but he has not taken the steps where you're thinking to yourself, wow, this guy is going to keep getting better and we have somebody. So far, it's very much open-ended at this point. So I would hold off on the massive extension for Zach Wilson at this time,
also
a 1 year into his 5-year deal.
It's also against league rules, so that's helpful.
I'm here to break rules for Dan.
But the Baker contract is well within league limits. So.
Yes, but it's not something that I desire the way that you think I do.
All right, and that is. Anybody else have anything? There you go. And there are the gifts of the Around the NFL podcast.
I had a gift for Gravedigger, but I'm gonna. I'll deal with that in private.
I see.
He's hoping to get his own gift.
I'm peeking over at Mark's notes, and I see the words "poopsie pie" and "minor rodent rabies" in all caps. I just want to know what was left on the
that was my other gift for Dan.
Floor here.
Oh,
it was a pet squirrel that you could have in your new house, like you did in your old one.
He
would be
a
very calm squirrel that could sit with you on the couch.
Even though I still have a scar from when he bit me, but that was my fault. That was not his fault. Yeah. I don't remember his name anymore, but he was my
Gus. How could you forget Gus's name?
Gus.
Her name.
Gus, Cherry, I mean the whole gang. And speaking of gifts, we have one more for both us and the listeners. Here she comes. Connie Fox heading into the studio right after this break. All right, here she is. Welcome back, Connie Fox, the Tiny Box.
It's great to be back. Great to be here. Yes. So festive in here.
Your chair's really high. It's making me feel self-conscious.
I did that on purpose.
You've never been taller than me.
I like to have you panic.
Anyway,
Dan is legit physically uncomfortable right now. He is now raising his seat to be the tallest person in the room.
Colleen's like 5'1.5".
That's right.
He cannot be taller than me. All right, here we go.
Yes.
Before we get to Thursday night, and it's one of the best Thursday night games of the year, Connie, you were behind the glass during that really, I thought, special moment for the show where we handed out gifts to each other. Did you have anything you wanted to
I thought that we were going to start with Nazi Germany, just based on the previous part of the show. But I do have a gift for you, Mark.
Really?
Yes.
Wow,
yes.
that's fitting. That's really touching.
It's a large box from the Tiny Box.
Okay. Shall I
open it up, bro?
Yes,
all right.
please.
It is sizable.
Yes.
There we go.
What is inside is an unending closet that is filled with a brand new wardrobe for you, so you do not have to worry about it ever again. And it will constantly change. It will be updated at no cost for you.
A very special gift.
Yeah.
Closet space too. That's
nice.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard my pain points.
I have.
And you've responded in a very generous way, and I appreciate that very much.
But can you make me one promise? Can you give me one more gift? Big Green stays in the rotation. Keep Big Green in.
I will. That's going to be challenging because with all these new things to pick from.
That's my favorite.
And it's a rotating. It updates.
As
the trends.
So you don't even
change.
have to worry about cleaning out your closet and like making sure that things are still in style. It just does it automatically for you.
What I specifically wanted, though, I want at least one compartment or one part of the wardrobe to be like the, as I mentioned, like the Michael Irvin like pink suit with like the boa fur cap and the. I want to wear that on this show.
You know that he does all of that. Like it's.
No,
like,
I've learned. I've learned that he is. That's. His thing.
I was responding to everything during that podcast, walking around like the grocery store, and I was like, no, that's not how it works, Mark.
Well, no, and I listen. I am a naif on that front, so I wear like 4 shirts on this show, and I need to change my ways.
Did you know,
yes.
Colleen, the green shirt I refer to whenever Mark wears Big Green and I turn the corner, I see him the first time, he always go, "Here I am, your little army man."
Oh, yeah.
And I go, "Yes, you
but
are,
I'm never
Sergeant.
wearing that again.
I've missed you guys.
Sergeant Sessler. All right, Connie, enough of the funny business. Did you think I nailed it with Greg and the Patriot psychology? I thought
it was good. Yeah. I thought it was good.
I think I even got him to realize it in real time. If you looked in his eyes.
No, it's been a topic. It was a topic at my house.
Your gifts are a little stinky, Dan. Like they.
Yeah.
They're a
I
little.
can't believe you forgot about the squirrels' names. Like they were such a big part of your life in such a dark period.
I've lost the part
during the pandemic.
It was more of my mind a blank. Of course, I remember Gus. I love that. I love that little guy. In fact,
it's
I kept.
She.
It was never clear, but I kept the little picnic table that I bought that I put into the tree. And then my neighbor, Rich, I taught him about the ways of the squirrels, and he took it on. So the squirrels continue to be fed by humans.
That's great.
So
what a story.
I didn't forget
can't believe
about
you saved that update till now. That was
Chiefs-Chargers from SoFi Stadium right across the sidewalk. Priyanka, give it to me. Turn it up in my headset.
Everybody's welcome here.
As long as you have a ticket.
Oh, and by the way,
It's like
come on. Will.i.am slathered all over this. The project.
Hey, how many
so many.
swears
Wait a
are we?
minute.
I'm gonna miss them, and then I'm gonna get destroyed about how I suck at my job.
I think one thing you could do is you can take notes, Ricky, when you hear.
I do
when-
take notes, Mark. Why
Oh.
don't you take a note?
Wow.
I knew that would annoy you.
What?
I knew that would annoy you.
That was a gift from me. That right there.
I knew
Yeah,
that
just
was
a little time code, and then that way.
Exactly. It's right there in front of you. You don't have to jog the.
She's going to murder you.
I'm staying in this room.
Absolutely.
I'm not exiting the studio.
Yeah, you're not.
Just a little update. The project that got cooking behind the scenes, a reworked version. Remember when Paul McCartney was really upset with the Phil Spector Let It Be album that had all this production on it? So he released, it was called Let It Be, ellipses Naked, and it was like a stripped-down version. We will have a stripped-down version of that Priyanka hit at some point before the end of the season. And we have a very special musical artist handling the duties. It won't be Priyanka, but she wasn't my first choice anyway.
Talk about a Christmas gift, a holiday gift, depending on what holiday you or whatever it is you're in support of.
Very good, Mark. All right, the Chargers are 8-5.
really covered your bases.
Coming off a whopping of the G-Men. The Chiefs are 9-4, lead the NFC West, one of 3 teams in the AFC. Did you know that this is the first time in the history of our league since conference play began in 1970 that there's a 3-way tie record-wise atop both conferences entering Week 14?
Wow.
That is, it is real. And that old stat that you brought up a few weeks ago, Greg, about how many teams were in the mix, we are still right there. There are 26 of 32 teams within a game of the playoffs are currently in position. That's where we're at in our league right now.
No playoff spots clinched with
None.
4 weeks to go. That's
Only a
pretty
couple
weird.
teams
Anyone could take a
eliminated.
dirt nap. That is exciting to me.
So the Chiefs are 9-4. They're coming off a really big win as well, Connie. So you have 2 teams fighting it out for division supremacy here on Thursday night, and both feeling pretty good about themselves right now.
Yes. So I think the biggest headline going into this game is COVID and the players that won't be available. So I feel like let's just get that out of the way off the bat, because Chris Jones was added to the COVID list, and it's still unclear if he'll be able to come back in time unless it's some type of like false positive. Yeah, that's one of their most talented defensive players. He's been amazing with Frank Clark. They've been all over quarterbacks. So that's going to be really important, because on the other side of things, Rashawn Slater, the Chargers left tackle, he also tested positive for COVID.
Huge.
So when I saw that, I'm thinking, okay, Justin Herbert, if he doesn't have his left tackle, this is going to be an issue with Chris Jones and Frank Clark on the other side. But now it's almost a little bit even because of those 2 guys being out. Additionally, Josh Gordon tested positive, the Chiefs wide receiver, and then you have
Probably hanging out with Johnny Manziel.
Maybe. Who knows? So there's a lot of guys who, whether it's through injury or COVID, their status is up in the air. Austin Eckler, we saw that the Chargers running back, he hurt his ankle. A short week, so we're going to monitor his status. We're going to see how he does. But there's so many things to look at in this game. For me, I've been looking at the Chiefs defense, because who hasn't? And they've sort of risen from the dead, which is why it's such a huge, it's just losing Chris Jones, if they do in fact not have him for this game, that's massive. This
It's a great
defense,
test.
They've played so well, causing 5 turnovers in that last game against the Raiders. They've allowed more than 20 points just once since week 5, not at all during the 6-game winning streak. So they've done a really great job taking pressure off of Mahomes with the takeaways, the points scored off of those, giving him and the offense a short field, so he hasn't had to do all of the things that he was doing earlier in the season and pressing. And doing that, he looks, and this offense in general, they look efficient. They're spreading the ball around. They're moving the ball well. They've been great on 3rd down. So we'll have to see how that plays out without Chris Jones.
That's what changed about the Chiefs more than anything. Was Chris Jones turned back into Chris Jones, one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league. Frank Clark, who was terrible for about a month and a half in this season, like a huge negative, turned back into Frank Clark. And Melvin Ingram was a great pickup. Like, thank you, Steelers. He has really helped in terms of their interior rush. And when I saw Rashawn Slater's out, I thought, I was thinking I'm picking the Chargers in this game. And then I saw that, and I started to lose my nerve a little bit because Storm Norton is their right tackle, a little bit of a problem. Then if you got a problem at left tackle, yeah, you get a little more worried. But now it's like this. In all of these games, the availability just feels like it's so different which team you get on a week-to-week basis. For instance, they were careful with Derwin James last week. Sounds like he'll be back. Joey Bosa, they were careful with 2 weeks ago. He kind of came out last week and he was fresher. Like Chris Harris should be playing. Eckler should be playing, but, unless something pops up. So it comes down to that stuff, and yet we know the Chargers can, go toe-to-toe with the Chiefs because they did it. They already beat them once this year in a game that actually the Chiefs racked up a ton of yards and went up and down the field. But it was the Chargers, if you remember, at the end of that game in I think it was week 3 or so, scored the last 10 points and kind of closed out the Chiefs. It was like, ooh, is this a different Chargers team? Show it to us again and sweep them.
This is that moment. This is that moment for them because, they broke the Bengals 2 weeks ago. They absolutely decimated the mentality of the Giants by halftime last week.
That's easy.
I'm not calling that the biggest achievement of the year, but the way that their offense has appeared over the past 2 games answers some of the concerns and the fretting over Joe Lombardi's scheme in general. They are letting Justin Herbert be Justin Herbert, and we have tracked the Chargers as this hot and cold, up and down team, snake bit to the last, our entire podcast run. If they pull this thing off, they go 9-5. They take over the division, and they are something we've never seen before, and that's what I'm hoping will happen.
I kind of remember, Greg, you're good with this history stuff. A few years back, Phil Rivers maybe going to Kansas City in a primetime game late in the season and scoring a huge win.
That was a TNF game.
Yes.
I was there for that.
Okay, so that was another – I'm thinking of that game when I think of this game where the Chargers have an opportunity to really say, hey, when you talk about the Super Bowl contenders, of course it didn't work out for that Chargers team. It's never worked out for a Chargers team when you talk about the big goal here. But this team, they go and beat the Chiefs, and Justin Herbert plays at the level he's been playing at recently. Some of the throws he's been making these last couple weeks, what a great showcase for him. Like, I'm taking my boys to the game on Thursday, and they are unrestricted free agents as football fans. I think they want to be Jets fans because they want their dad to love them, but they don't understand that I'm trying to push them away. But if I push too hard in that direction, it will only make Jack especially be like, no, I am a Jets fan. So it's a very delicate dance. So money has helped me out, got tickets to this game, and I'm going to put them in their seats, and I'm going to just pray that Justin Herbert goes to town on the Chiefs and lights them up. And I think it could happen. And maybe they become Chiefs fans. Remember we did the fan redraft, took the Chiefs and that. So Mahomes, Justin Herbert, that's just going to be a showdown and a matchup we got to watch for a long time, Connie.
And Justin Herbert, he's played so well when he has solid protection. And that's been, especially over the last 2 weeks, he's completing like 76% of his passes, 74% of his passes, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. So losing Slater is such a big deal here because Slater is the only player on the Chiefs or the Chargers offense that has played every single offensive snap this year.
That's what's like, we've covered the COVID thing, but that's just what's so deflating is like, I think even for these coaches too, when you find out sometimes who knows who else will be out, that you have to do more adjusting than we realize when suddenly you lose a tight end or a tackle. It's a total mess. I will say this about the Chargers. They are starting to compel me in a way that is dangerous. So I'm going to this game too as a media member.
Wait.
What?
What do you mean they're starting to compel you in a way that is dangerous? What does that mean exactly? Please break it down.
Like, I think about them a lot. It's also...
I can see you being a big fan of... they have someone on the team named Trey McKitty. Have you noticed that? Mick Kitty. That is a Mark Sessler name if I've ever
We have to get a jersey. That's a present.
Okay.
That's
another one for Mark.
That fits right into this beautiful closet.
I want to see Herbert... I know he played well against the Chiefs last time, but that Chiefs defense at the time was giving up like historic numbers. Since then, when Herbert's gone against a coordinator that's good at mixing up coverages and kind of making you hold the ball. Like, that's what stuck out to me with the Chiefs game last week and really almost every week right now. He is making Derek Carr, for instance, who's, a bright quarterback, not sure with what he's seen, and that's what Herbert's done in his down games. And they've especially, attacked the protection in terms of, knowing who even to stop. And they're good on the back end. I kind of just believe in this Chiefs defense at some point.
To your point, the guys that unspooled him, Vic Fangio,
Belichick.
Mike Zimmer, Belichick, and Wink Martindale for the Ravens.
Interesting.
Wow.
Vegas has this at Chiefs laying 3. They got the wood out for 3. Over-under, it's the highest of any game this week at 52. So I could see points here, but also, do I trust the Chiefs offense? Not yet.
That's what I was going to ask you, just the Chiefs offense in general and Patrick Mahomes, because if they do win this game, then does it become, okay, are they overtaking the Patriots for that #1 spot? I have to look at their schedule to see how they finish out.
The Patriots have a tough schedule. The Chiefs is a little earlier. They're all tied. But yeah, I think to me the Chiefs and the Patriots are the 2 best picks for the AFC Championship, because if they're winning this way, I was impressed or at least encouraged with the game that Mahomes had a week ago. This game will be telling, because the whole idea of that we've heard ad nauseum about playing the 2 high safety shells, that came from Brandon Staley. That is what Brandon Staley wants to do as a defensive coordinator. Now, it didn't totally work when they played early in the season, but they did force a couple turnovers. They are the stereotypical, 2 high shell that's going to keep everything in front of them, and they've definitely been playing better over the last month, the Chargers defense. You're starting to feel like Staley's imprint is being on them.
Their run defense, though, still?
Yeah, they've been pretty good.
It's gotten better in the last month.
They've been pretty good. They've looked like a more cohesive type of group.
And Connie Fox, this is good news, too. Just like we keep on hearing, the Eagles, they don't get on a plane again.
That's right.
You don't have to get on a plane this week.
That's right.
Across the sidewalk here. Maybe we'll even see you on Thursday night. Connie, I know you like it in my city.
That's right.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add before we say goodbye?
Just great to see you guys. Fun times at the holiday party. Thanks for saying bye, Mark. Really cool of you.
I'm taking a huge hit on this party thing.
Do you want to get a plug-in for the Split Ends podcast?
Yeah, you guys need to check it out. Erica Tamposi behind the glass.
Ricky's scrambling to get her headset on.
No, I was just going to make a joke that it's you have to remind Colleen to plug the show that we do every week. She it literally leaves her mind. She does not even realize that she's on it.
You sound like my friend Bob
show.
with the Throwback podcast.
Yeah.
He gets so mad at me because I've never promoted the show.
Oh, by the way,
yes.
Amazing job today on Good Morning Football with Kevin from The Office, breaking down your favorite Kevin moments. Was that on the spot, or did you know ahead of time?
They gave me a heads up before we started, but I got a text from a GMFB producer today. They want me to go back on the show tomorrow because Kevin or Brian Baumgartner, Wednesday, he's in the Nate chair all week, which is wild, and they want to do a trivia bowl, my office knowledge versus his NFL knowledge.
Yes.
Ooh, I love
tomorrow in a quiz.
You know the office as well as anyone that I know.
Here's my concern. My strength is in the early seasons. We've talked about it many times about, as the show went on, it lost a lot of steam. So as long as the questions are in that season 1 to 4 range, I don't think Baumgartner's got a chance here.
Yeah, but you need to go home, and I would go home and watch every episode before this contest.
And throw that out as a disclaimer. I mean, it was fascinating, and the fact that he threw out there that he only wore readers in that one episode, the poker one, and he was an accountant, and never once did you ever see him put readers on when he was at work.
Only time he ever put
really
on the
entertaining.
And that's one of my favorite shows ever. So that was very cool. Connie.
Yeah.
All right. Great to have you always. There she goes, the tiny box, Connie Fox. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be back on Thursday with 2 episodes. The full preview of Week 14, where we 15. Not on.
It's flying now.
And also the TNF recap of this excellent Chiefs-Chargers game. So make sure you check in for that. All right, let us go. Listen, flea medication is no joke, Ricky. You put that collar on.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
It's a spicy
I
gift.
appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Back, darling. All right.
And thanks for the baby.
until Thursday.
You got it.
You got it. Heed the call.